Hello, you know what today is? It is Teach Me Tuesday. So I know it's happy hour and I'm coming to you again with a topic that isn't exactly a cocktail party discussion, but if you stick with me for a few minutes, I promise this is some information you will get some value from. So if you have parents or grandparents that have been sitting around talking about how am I going to pay for my funeral, final expenses, prepaid funeral plans, blah, 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 or maybe you've had this conversation with your family yourself. Well, I'm going to talk to you about the pros and cons of a couple different ways that you can prepare for final expenses and have some peace of mind, okay? So first of all, you have what is called a prepaid funeral plan. You can purchase a plan from a funeral home of your choice, lock in the rates, and set up payments until the entire plan is paid off. Now, the drawback to having a prepaid plan like this is that if you pass away before the plan is paid off, then you transfer that balance to your family and they're responsible, for paying the rest of it off. Secondly, if you have to move to another state, that can completely put a complicated wrench in the plan, which could end up costing your family more money or lose what you've paid into the plan altogether. Lastly, what if the company goes out of business? Then the family's out of luck and your plan will no longer be valid. So let's talk about statistics for a moment before I get into the second way you can plan for final expenses, okay? Did you know that the average cost of funerals and funeral merchandise is increasing by 5% every year, along with everything else, right? The average cost of a traditional funeral today is anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000, which is up from $7,000 in 2014. And there's absolutely no regulation on what a funeral home will charge their clients. So let me tell you about an option that I believe is a much more efficient way to ensure families don't have to dip into their pockets, start a GoFundMe account, or worry about a prepaid plan not being completely paid for. There is a very unique final expense plan that will not only cover the full cost of the funeral, whether you've paid one premium in or 50, but as a part of the plan, rates for the funeral merchandise are locked in today, regardless of what rates will be at their passing. For instance, a metal gauge casket is locked in at wholesale pricing for $2,000 instead of $6,000 to $8,000. It's crazy how expensive things are when I started looking into it. And an urn for $99 instead of $300 to $400. They will also be assigned an expert negotiator as part of the wish team who will hold their hand and walk them through the process and be an advocate for the family and coordinating with the funeral home and negotiate the cost of those services at 60 to 80%. I mean, that is huge. And there's more. They can add 4 family members to the legacy benefits. They don't have to have a policy that can benefit from those legacy benefits as well. So look, in the first 24 hours, families have to make dozens of decisions. So having an advocate really takes the burden off the family's shoulders so they don't have to worry about being taken advantage of. And, they can have a safe space to grieve properly and peacefully and, truly celebrate the life of that loved one. Lastly, the policy is paid out directly to the beneficiary within 24 hours. Typically, insurance companies need a death certificate before they pay a claim out, which could delay the claim being paid out anywhere from 2 weeks to a couple months. I mean, who's got time for that when you're trying to lay a loved one to rest? I just can't imagine having to wait that long. So with all of that said, I hope that you've not had to experience the benefits of having a final expense policy. But, if you have, I'd love for you to comment below, share your stories, and don't leave this discussion on the table. Just have this discussion, get your affairs in order, and be done with it. Also, if you need any more information, need any quotes, or want to understand how final expense policies work better, comment info below, and I will be in touch.